welcome back to your Mission Prep podcast. I'm your host, Caleb.
Hey, my name is Bruce. We're so excited today to invite our special friend to join us. His name is Clayton. So go ahead, will you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, I'm Clayton. I come from Rupert, Idaho. I'm a student at USU. I'm studying finance and agribusiness here. It's my second year at USU, and I'm a student in Bruce's institute class.
Thank you so much.
And Clayton, where did you serve your mission?
I served in Oaxaca, Mexico.
Oaxaca, Mexico. Very, very fun. Oaxaca, where is Oaxaca in Mexico?
It's like way south, kind of near like Guatemala.
Okay. Nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Did you get the Yucatan Peninsula as part of your mission?
No, that's kind of on like the east coast. I was on the west coast, so
Mm.
Gotcha.
yeah.
So what was that adjustment like going from Idaho to Mexico?
I think probably the hardest adjustment is the food. I
Did,
think
did you miss the
everyone
mashed potatoes or something from
Not
home?
that I necessarily miss the food at home, although it is good. I love the food that when I got there, but it made me sick because the food's just really like kind of heavy, a lot of like spices and a lot of different ingredients. So sometimes it's kind of hard to digest, I guess, and you get sick every now and then when you first get there.
Yeah. Was that the toughest thing you had to adjust to down in Mexico, or was there something else that was more surprising?
Um, there's like a lot of cultural things that are a little different, and obviously like adjusting to being a missionary is pretty tough. You got a really rigid schedule, and you get to rest a whole lot. So there's a lot of things that made it kind of difficult at first.
That's good. That's really good.
Wow, good for you. Maybe you have an experience from your mission you'd like to share with us. We always love a good story.
Yeah, are you thinking like funny or spiritual or
Whatever. How about one of each? Just
all right. Yeah, one time I was walking back home with my companion and we walked to like the city square and there was a clown doing like a little show and he like called us over and we were in his show.
did you give him a
So
Book of Mormon right then?
no, we didn't get the chance to, but we like grabbed the mic and like, yo, come to church tomorrow. Like it's over here. And it was actually like a pretty cool experience. I think people saw that and saw us in a different light than usual and
Mhm.
kind of saw us more as people. So that was pretty fun.
That's
I'm
crazy.
glad they didn't see you as a clown by guilt by association.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think people were laughing and having a good time. So I think it was a good experience.
Does that happen often? Was that a regular occurrence, just a clown in the middle of the town square? Or
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of clowns in Mexico. Like being a clown is still like a pretty common thing, like birthday parties and stuff. But people will go on buses and do like freestyle raps. They'll sing songs. They'll do comedy shows and just try to, hustle a couple dollars every now and then. So it's actually kind of common to see stuff
Wow.
like that. Yeah.
We might have to change the title of this episode to My Mission with the Clown.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's funny. I never had a run-in with any clowns, but and by now I'm kind of wishing that I did. Would have made a good story.
One of our bishops was a party clown by, I guess he was a lawyer by day, party clown by night, bishop on Sunday. So yeah, really
is
good
that a
dude.
calling or
Love that.
is that a hobby?
I guess it was more like destiny because his dad was a party clown, and it was like everybody knew, like the whole city. You told like Paso Kiwi and the whole town who you were talking about, and then he like inherited the caricature from his dad when he passed away, and he like continued the family business. So
Dude, that's cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
That's
yeah.
amazing. I just hope you don't have to go tracking with a clown going from door to door. Crazy. Well, tell
Yeah.
us a spiritual experience you've had on your mission.
There was one really cool experience. We were out just a normal day, and we got a call from a member who lived kind of far away, and she said she was sick and she needed a blessing because none of her like family members had the priesthood. So we had to like kind of scrap our day plans to go out to go visit her, and we rode in trucks, like in the back of trucks to get to where we were going. And when we got in the back of the truck, this lady was like, "Oh, are you guys like LDS missionaries?" We're like, "Yeah." She's like, "I want you to teach me my family." So I guess she had like the day before prayed for a sign to like see what church to join. And we taught her and her two sons, they got baptized 3 weeks after that. So that was like really inspired. Just like had that lady not been sick, or had she been too shy to ask for a blessing, or had we been too, I guess, like busy to like go visit her, none of that would have ever happened. So that was a really, really cool experience.
That's amazing. So, what have you learned from that experience? Were you following the spirit, or did you happen to be at the right place at the right time? What's the spiritual lesson with that story?
I think really the lesson is that God's hands in everything. Like I don't know if like saying the lady got sick was like a part of like the grand design necessarily, but I guess everybody gets sick every now and then. It kind of lined up with that timing of us, going on that certain truck at a certain time, meeting that family, and have her having prayed the day before to see like a sign. So I think just God's hand plays a part in every part of our lives, really.
Yeah. I like how, we can see how God can turn any situation into a miracle, right?
Yeah,
Like you said, like people just get sick, right? And so that lady asking for a blessing, I think is just going to happen. But God using that circumstance to, engineer a meetup between you and this lady who had prayed to God for a sign is just, one of the many, many things that God does, with missionary work. I love that.
Thank you. How about if you share with us a segment of the teaching How to Preach My Gospel for our outgoing missionaries?
yeah. So this section that I pulled up comes from chapter 13. It's Unite with Local Leaders and Members. It says, build trust and genuine friendships with local leaders and members. Visit with them and learn about their families, backgrounds, interests, and church experience. Be genuinely interested in their lives. And I chose this because in my mission, there's kind of a unique circumstance where there was a lot of difficult things that happened. There was like some problems with tithing being taken or used in inappropriate ways. And then like COVID pandemic really kind of crumbled the church structure in the area. So there were a lot of inactive members, a lot of people who kind of wish church would go back to how it used to be, like 20 years ago. They all like thought it was so fun, and then things happened and it was less strong than it was in the past. And a lot of what we were doing was focusing on rebuilding those relationships, rebuilding that trust and love for the church that people had felt in the past. And I spent most of my time with members in their homes, visiting their family, their friends, just getting to know who they are as people. And I had the opportunity to go back and visit my mission in December. And I spent, more time visiting with members in their homes than I did at the beach or, doing the touristic things that you can do down there, because those are the people that I generally just loved so much and had given me, so much food and love and care at a time where I needed those things. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think, there's something to be said about the purpose of a mission is of course to invite people to come into Christ, but I think there's like maybe like a sub like implication kind of thing where it's just to get to know people and love them the way that Christ does, right? Whether or not that's non-members or potential, investigators or already members or less actives, is just to go and just to love people. And I think that some people they don't include, working with members as much as they potentially could.
I like that. In fact, I'm just wondering if you have any suggestions on what would be an effective way to work with members. What have you seen that were effective that works versus those that don't?
I think there's like two sides. One is building connections and showing them who you are. I think there's kind of an idea of a perfect missionary out there that church culture is kind of formed, of a very robotic, diligent guy that will not, he doesn't laugh. He's always teaching. He's always talking to us. And that's like, it is a good thing to do those things. but you have to show who you truly are.
Mhm.
Because I mean, if we like just needed like an AI missionary, we could do that nowadays, you know. But we need people, we need personalities because you can connect with others that others can't. And I think that's a big part of when you visit members to show them who you are, tell them about what you are interested in, what your life plans are, tell them, like, let them know who you are. And also, don't be afraid to tell them what kind of missionary you are and who you're teaching. Like, that was like one thing I always like really focused on. Was I was getting to someone's house and I'd be like, oh, do you know your neighbor? Or, like, if we were teaching somebody, like, oh, you got to meet them. They're so cool. Like, we're teaching them. They're going to go to church on Sunday and get them involved and excited. Because in a lot of areas, like, members are so willing to help with the work. They're just not usually sure who you're teaching or how they can help. So just letting them know that you are working hard and teaching people will get them excited and involved.
Mhm.
That is wonderful. I want to add to your thoughts by sharing that in some missions, the minute they are teaching someone and you can see it progressing towards making commitments, and if they have a lofty goal of committing them for baptism, that ought to be brought up and talked about at ward council under the direction of the bishop or branch president. And if that was the case, if they're on baptismal date, they should, or even right before that, they should be immediately be assigned a ministering brother, ministering sister, and involve those people who will minister to them, because the people that is our ministers to this family that you're working on will be the permanent solution where the missionaries get transferred often. And who's going to fellowship on after you guys are gone? It needs to be someone else. I've seen it done. I've seen it done to the point where when they involve the members in the teaching process, then they would bring their ministering brother or sister with them to the next teaching appointment, and got to the point where the ministering brother ended up being the person that's baptizing uh, this family that are interested in the church, because now there's an instant bond, a connection that comes together. And so I like that. And I wonder if you have any other thoughts.
You know, I completely agree. Our mission's like standard was to baptize every week, but my standard was never get into the water. I didn't want me or my companion ever baptizing somebody because it always should be a member. There should always be somebody that they felt close to that they would feel okay having them baptize them. So I barely actually baptize somebody myself because I feel like it would be way more productive to delegate that responsibility and blessing to a member in the area. That's something I completely agree with that.
Love that. Love that. Now, Clayton, now I'm curious how you would, um, advise this some young missionary who, in whatever area they're in, they have a tough time getting the members involved, right? They have all these people they're teaching, but all of the members that they go and talk with, they're all, super busy with their work and their lives, or they don't have time when these other friends have time or what have you. What would be your advice to these people?
I think it depends a lot, probably where you're serving. I know, like if you're, maybe in the United States, there's probably a certain work structure that's different than Mexico or maybe somewhere in Asia. But I think a really good venue is always YSA and youth.
Mhm.
The YSA love missionaries. In my experience, the YSA loved us. We love being with them. Even nowadays in college, the missionaries in the YSA get along super well. And we also spent a lot of time with the youth. If a youth is 16 or older, you can go out with them and proselyte. So we would often take youth from our wards and go knock doors with them or go do lessons. And they were usually very willing and often had more time than the adults did.
I totally agree. In fact, if you work with the youth and ask them to, hey, let's plan an activity, could everyone perfectly think of a friend they can invite? It could be sports, it could be game night, and to make connections with them. I think members, they're not unwilling. Maybe they just haven't had positive experiences or some success stories. And it takes energetic, enthusiastic missionaries that are willing to come in, exercise faith, and push one or two boulders, rocks around, and then they'll just continue to grow and evolve around it. It just needed to start with one, and then two, and then four, and go on, so on, so forth.
Yeah, we actually had incredible success doing movie nights. We would host like a ward kind of like family home evening, and we would just play a movie. We would tell everybody bring a friend, and we one time we watched Super Mario Bros. And we found a friend named Kevin before the movie started. We taught him a lesson. He got baptized shortly afterwards, and that was just because he wanted to watch Super Mario Bros. So there's really 1,000 ways to do missionary work.
So all the magic happens with Mario Bros. That's good to know.
And my success, like 100% of the times we watch Mario Bros, we baptize somebody. So
Yeah, you got to find a way to connect with people. Love that. Love
yeah.
that. So now, Clayton, we're getting to the point of our episode where we're going to invite you to, um, close with your testimony in both your mission language and then a quick summary in English. And then we'll go from there.
All right, perfect. Sé que Dios nos ama, que nos dio su evangelio para que podamos ser mejores personas. Sé que la iglesia es la iglesia verdadera y cuando nos esforzamos para estudiar y asistir a la iglesia, que podemos llegar a ser como Cristo. Sé que José Smith fue un profeta de Dios y que él restauró la iglesia y digo esas cosas en el nombre de Cristo. Amén. Um, I have a very, I would say, strong testimony of missionary work. My missionary, I think, fundamentally changed who I am and who I'll be for the rest of my life. And I would never trade those 2 years for anything else. I encourage anybody who watches this or ever may consider serving a mission to just try. Even if you go out, you don't like it or whatever, it's hard, maybe you don't make it the full 2 years, just go and try. Because God doesn't, need us for necessarily 2 years to do his work, because he will do his work no matter what. He will take whatever we can give him, even if it's a couple of months or just a year. He will be deeply grateful for all of the effort that we put into his work. I know that this church is true. I believe that Joseph Smith was a prophet of God and that the Book of Mormon is another testament of Christ. And I love the fact that nowadays we have modern prophets and apostles that can guide us through these difficult times and can guide us through the second coming. And I say these things in the name of Christ, amen.
Amen.
Thank you for your testimony, Clayton, and sharing your wisdom and advice. And thank you for everybody else for tuning in this week. Make sure to come back next week for a new episode.
Thank you.
No
Adios.